Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting smart about what's actually happening online.
That's right.
Today we are jumping straight into the thick of it, the X platform. It's always moving, always surprising.
Definitely.
So our mission today, we've picked out 12 posts that really stood out. They cover, well, everything tech, world news, money trends, what people are talking about.
Think of it as a snapshot.
Exactly, a snapshot of the online pulse, giving you those insights, those connections you'd probably miss if you were just, scrolling endlessly.
And that's the key, isn't it? Because when you dig into these posts, even the short ones, you start seeing these fascinating trends, these deeper issues. We're here to connect those dots for you.
Help you get truly well-informed beyond just the headlines. Okay, let's dive in. First up, we've got a big one from @Elon Musk. He posted, let me read it. We will use Grok 3.5, maybe we should call it 4, which has advanced reasoning to rewrite the entire corpus of human knowledge, adding missing information and deleting errors, then retrain on that. Far too much garbage in any foundation model trained on uncorrected data.
Wow, that's quite a statement.
Audacious is one word for it, rewriting all human knowledge.
Well, yeah, it's huge. But it really hits on a massive problem in AI right now, this whole garbage in, garbage out thing.
Right. The training data.
Exactly. If you train AI on messy, unverified stuff from the internet, the AI learns those flaws, those biases. Some studies show error rates can be like over 15% if you don't actively clean the data.
So he's saying fix the source material first.
Sort of, but it's more radical. It's like
Right.
saying let's use AI itself with advanced reasoning to create a better foundation. It's fundamentally rethinking how AI learns. Maybe it's less about just raw data volume and more about the quality, the integrity of what it learns first.
And knowing Musk, that Petty the Frog image he included, it's that mix of serious ambition and, well, internet humor.
It's definitely his style. Bold vision with a side of meme.
Okay, so while one part of AI wants to rewrite everything, how is it already changing things day to day? This next one from @Marc Lou about Airbnb is kind of wild.
Oh, yeah. What's the story?
He posts, Airbnb just blew my mind. He booked a month in France, had issues, slow Wi-Fi, broken stuff, noisy neighbors, you know the drill.
Sounds typical.
He messaged the hosts each time, documented it. But here's the thing. He never actually asked for a refund.
Okay.
And then, bam, a full refund, $7,756, just shows up in his account. Unrequested.
Whoa. Seriously. $7,000.
Yep, just appeared.
Okay, that is mind-blowing. So what's the thinking there? Why would they do that?
Well, that's the fascinating part. Marc Lou apparently describes himself as having Labrador-like avoidance of conflict, so he wasn't going to push it.
Right, not the type to demand a refund.
Which points to Airbnb's new AI customer service bot. They've been rolling it out.
Okay. So you think the AI just saw the pattern?
Very likely. It probably analyzed his messages, saw the documented problems piling up, and just proactively triggered the refund. No human needed.
That's a huge leap for customer service, and AI taking that kind of initiative.
It really is. But it raises questions, right?
Oh, definitely. Like, who paid for that? Was it the host? Or did Airbnb eat the cost?
Usually hosts take a hit for unresolved issues, don't they?
Typically, yes. But a refund that large, unrequested, someone online, a former host, even called it unprecedented, it makes you wonder if maybe Airbnb saw an opportunity.
How so?
Well, Marc Lou has a big social media following, right? This generates massive positive buzz. Maybe it's strategic PR.
Yeah.
Enhance the brand image, especially when they're facing heat in places like Spain, where, tens of thousands of listings just got blocked.
So it could be a very smart, if expensive, marketing move.
Could be. Leverage his reach, make Airbnb look incredibly customer-focused, a pretty effective play, potentially.
That's a really interesting angle. Okay, moving from tech mind blows to different ideas about wealth. This one's from @Dearson, an account that gives advice to young men.
Okay.
The post is simple but emphatic. The goal is never Gucci bags. It's acres of land. And yeah, he used a lot of R's there.
Gets the point across. And it really captures a feeling that seems to be growing.
What feeling is that?
It's this shift in what people value. Contrasting something fleeting, like a luxury handbag, with something tangible, enduring land.
And land holds its value, right?
Generally, yes. Studies show U.S. land values have consistently beaten inflation. We're talking over 7% annually, historically. It's seen as stable long-term.
So it's about security over status symbols.
Exactly. But I think it's deeper than just finances. It's almost a quiet rebellion against constant consumption. It's saying real wealth, real legacy is intangible assets. not just flashy stuff. Land has always been tied to power and stability since, well, forever. And now you see reports that wealthy individuals are prioritizing property for legacy, not just investment. It's about generational security.
Interesting. Okay, sticking with wealth, but a very different and maybe more controversial take. From @Saylor, Michael Saylor.
Ah, Saylor,
Yeah.
Bitcoin advocate.
Right, his post was super simple. $21 million in 21 years.
Yeah, that needs context. He's famous because his company, MicroStrategy, bet big on Bitcoin, investing well over $21 million over that time. So the post is basically him saying, see, told you so. It's a very bullish signal for Bitcoin.
But there was something else recently with him, wasn't there? Kind of clouds the picture a bit.
There was, and it's important context. He just settled a pretty major tax fraud case for $40 million.
$40 million. Wow. Okay, that definitely adds a layer.
It certainly complicates his image as a financial guru, you could say. And, the crypto market itself is, well, it's crypto. Always volatile. People constantly debating if it's alt season, boom time for other coins, or if we're heading for another big dip. Bitcoin's notoriously unpredictable. We're just laying out the context here, obviously not giving investment advice.
Understood. Okay. From the volatility of crypto to something much more grounded and frankly upsetting. This is from @WallStreetApes.
Okay, what is it?
It's heartbreaking. The post reads, "This is what government healthcare looks like. Mother in Canada in tears because the BC government has denied funding for her daughter's medicine. She'll receive her final infusion tomorrow. Her daughter is the first child in the world to be taken off Brineura. This is fatal."
Oh, wow. That's heavy, Brineura. That's for Batten disease, right?
Yes. The daughter, Charlie Pollock, has this rare, fatal neurodegenerative condition. And the medicine, Brineura, it costs a fortune. Something like $844,000 a year in Canada.
An astronomical amount.
Yeah.
And the government cut the funding.
Yeah, British Columbia. They reviewed her case and decided it wasn't providing sufficient benefit anymore, apparently against medical advice. She was scheduled for her last infusion.
That is just an impossible situation for the family. Devastating.
It really throws a harsh light on the challenges within government-funded healthcare, doesn't it?
Yep.
Especially with these incredibly expensive drugs for rare diseases.
Absolutely. It forces this awful ethical calculation. How do you balance immense cost against one person's life? Where do you draw the line? It's a stark illustration of the debates around socialized medicine, the costs, the benefits, the rationing decisions that sometimes have to be made.
Such a tough issue. And speaking of government and costs, that leads kind of neatly into this next one from @Gunther Eagleman.
Okay.
It's a simple post asking, what happened to us? And it has a cartoon. On one side, the American Revolution, triggered by a 3% tax on tea and paper. On the other side, today with a 40% income tax.
The classic tax comparison. It makes a visual point for sure.
It does.
Wait.
Quite stark.
But, the history's a bit more nuanced. The Boston Tea Party in 1773, yes, taxes were involved, but it was maybe less about the 3% itself and more about the monopoly granted to the British East India Company.
So it was hitting the wallets of colonial merchants. An economic threat.
Exactly. It was about who controlled the trade, not just the tax rate. Which, interestingly, kind of echoes some modern arguments about corporate power versus individual tax burden.
So the cartoon simplifies it a bit.
It does. And, the shift from that resistance to tolerating much higher taxes today, well, part of it is just gradual normalization, especially after big events like World War II that required massive government spending and new tax structures. Plus, modern taxes are complex. Things like property taxes hit people on fixed incomes harder, which fuels ongoing debate and criticism. The cartoon taps into that frustration.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears completely from taxes and healthcare to something more personal and hopefully inspiring. This is from @MrBeast.
Ah, MrBeast. Always doing something big.
Yeah. He posts about a challenge, lose 100 pounds, win $250,000. But he added, I thought this was going to be a normal video, but it ended up being one of the most emotional and powerful pieces of content I've ever filmed.
Interesting. So not just the usual stunt.
Apparently not. More emotional impact.
Well, the setup makes sense for success. He likely provided a controlled environment nutritionist, trainer, the works. Research shows that kind of structured support can boost weight loss success significantly, like by 20–30%.
And the $250,000 prize probably didn't hurt motivation either.
Definitely not. Monetary incentives are powerful motivators, no doubt. But the studies also show that for long-term change, it really comes down to sustaining those lifestyle habits after the big prize is gone.
So the money kickstarts it, but commitment makes it last.
Pretty much. What's interesting here is maybe a shift in MrBeast's content. moving towards these more impactful personal transformation stories. And it taps into a huge issue, right? Global obesity is a major health crisis. So it connects on that level too. It shows how strong external motivators can be, but also underlines that internal drive is key for the long haul.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, from personal transformation to, well, a trickier cultural debate. This one's from @MattWallace888.
Okay, what's the debate?
He posted a video of a very muscular woman on a runway and asked, "People are debating online if this body type is considered overweight or not. What do you think?"
Right. That kind of discussion comes up a lot, and it really flags the problems with relying solely on BMI body mass index as a health measure.
Because muscle weighs more than fat, right?
Exactly. Someone can be incredibly fit and muscular, like many athletes, and still have a BMI that technically falls into the overweight or even obese category, just due to muscle mass. Think of someone like Ilona Maher, the Olympic rugby player. She's talked about facing scrutiny for her powerful build.
So the debate isn't really about health, maybe, but about perception.
Largely, yes. It challenges those ingrained societal ideas about what different body types should look like, or even what clothes they should wear. It sparks a necessary conversation about how we define health and beauty, moving beyond just simple numbers on a scale.
Definitely shows how subjective these things can be. Okay, shifting from body image to a public safety issue involving a major athlete. This is from @Defiantels about Caitlin Clark.
Oh dear, what's this?
The post says, "Listen to Caitlin Clark's stalker's first words as he walked into the courtroom."
That's chilling. What happened?
Well, the details are disturbing. A man named Michael Thomas Lewis, 55 years old, was accused of stalking her. And apparently his first words in court during his initial appearance were, "Guilty as charged."
Wow.
Just admitted it. That's unusual.
Very unusual. It suggests either immediate acceptance or maybe some kind of defiance. The charges are serious repeated harassment causing terror. He's under court order now to stay away from the arena, Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and obviously have zero contact with her.
Just a terrible reminder of the risks that come with being famous.
Absolutely. It really underscores that difficult intersection of celebrity and personal safety. Public figures are sadly much more vulnerable to this kind of thing simply because their lives are so visible. It's a serious issue they constantly have to navigate.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end this segment on a hopefully much brighter note. Some potentially magical news from @Jake Rowling.
Oh, Harry Potter related?
You guessed it. She posted very enthusiastically. "I read the first 2 episodes of the forthcoming HBO Harry Potter series, and they are so good. Caps and all."
Okay. That will definitely get the fans buzzing. There's huge curiosity about that series.
Especially after the Fantastic Beasts movies were kind of mixed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are eager for a return to form. This HBO series is a big deal. A major reboot, high-profile cast apparently lined up. And the word is it might explore new stories, not just remake the books or movies again. Though, don't hold your breath for it too soon. Production delays mean it's probably 2026 at the earliest.
Gotcha. And her being involved directly. That adds another layer, given the online discussions around her views.
It absolutely does. Her direct involvement fuels a lot of social media talk, especially considering her very public and controversial stance on transgender issues. You know, there are polls showing significant chunks of the public agree with her, others strongly disagree. It definitely complicates how the series will be received by different parts of the fan base. It's a prime example of how a creator's personal views can get tangled up with their work's reception.
Right, a lot to unpack there. Okay, moving from the wizarding world to the real world, some significant geopolitical and economic news. First, from @UnusualWhales.
What are they reporting?
The Post states, Iran has said, "We will pursue legal action against the U.S. attacks."
Okay. This follows those recent U.S. military strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, doesn't it? The ones reportedly authorized by President Trump.
That's the context, yes. Strikes targeting facilities linked to figures like Qasem Soleimani definitely ramped up tensions.
And Iran threatening legal action. That likely means going to the International Court of Justice, the ICJ.
That seems to be the implication.
Well, Iran has done that before against the U.S., like over sanctions back in 2018. But the ICJ doesn't really have teeth.
No enforcement power.
Pretty much. Past rulings against major powers often get ignored. So, while it's a diplomatic move, its practical effect is usually limited. It highlights the difficulty of holding superpowers accountable through international law. You often see a lot of public skepticism about whether these courts can actually resolve conflicts involving nations like Iran.
It's a symbolic move more than a practical one, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay, finally, let's bring it back home with a critical domestic issue: economy, immigration, labor. This is from @EdKrassen.
Right. What's the post?
It asks a pretty pointed question. What happens when Trump deports these immigrants in California? Are you going to do their job for them? And it's paired with a picture of people harvesting watermelons.
Yeah, that gets right to the heart of the labor issue, especially in agriculture.
It's incredibly labor-intensive work, right? Harvesting crops like watermelons.
Extremely. And the data is pretty clear. If you look at U.S. Department of Labor stats, something like only a third of crop farm workers doing manual labor are actually U.S. born. The vast majority are immigrants.
So the Post is basically saying, if Trump implements mass deportations as proposed, who fills that gap?
Precisely. And it highlights the clash between those proposed federal policies and states like California that have positioned themselves as sanctuary states offering protections. There's real tension there.
And the economic impact could be huge.
Potentially massive. You could see labor costs skyrocket if you suddenly had to find and pay American workers much higher wages to do those incredibly tough jobs. That could ripple through the economy as inflation. There are temporary worker programs like H-2A, but the scale is the issue. It raises serious questions about the sustainability of entire industries without immigrant labor. Labor costs in sectors like dairy are already apparently at 20-year highs.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
We have really covered a lot of ground today.
We really have.
From, AI dreaming of rewriting knowledge, to the harsh realities of healthcare costs, how we think about wealth, global politics, personal struggles, all seen through these quick snapshots on X.
It really drives home how even these short bursts of online communication, when you pause and dig deeper, reveal so much about our world. They connect things you might not normally link.
It's amazing how fast the conversation shifts online, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just how vital it is to look past the surface, past the immediate trend, and really try to understand the context, the why behind it all.
Absolutely. And that kind of leaves a question for you, the listener, doesn't it? How do these fleeting glimpses of what's buzzing online shape your own understanding of the big things, progress, value, the challenges society faces? And maybe what's our role in sorting the meaningful signals from all the noise out there?
Really important questions to think about. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
Thanks for tuning in.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.